Greetings, dudes. It is I am the one and only Mighty the Armadillo here.
And I am Ray the Flying Squirrel here, and we are from the likes of the Maxi Toys videos here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Super Mario All-Stars while we playing through the original Super Mario Bros. For the Super Nintendo / Nintendo Wii or Super Famicom for those of you who lived in Japan, and lastly for the Nintendo Switch online membership services and what have you. So last time we have essentially did somehow manage to complete every single levels in the game, specifically in the normal mode, because today, for this video, we're about to be replaying exactly the same game again, except this time, as you can see, we actually stumbled across into ourselves World Star 1, because welcome to the hard mode, basically, where basically everything else remains exactly the same, except the fact that there are some noticeable changes around here, such as those Goombas are no longer there. So, relatively speaking, those Goombas have been replaced by those Buzzy Beetles, which are immuted to the actual fireballs themselves. So as a result, though, I can totally see why that particular part does manage to get changed. So, either way though, not much else to talk about hard mode. I mean, it plays out pretty much exactly the same, aside from the fact that, well, relatively speaking though, we'll just have to show this off, just in case about the fact that there are certain differences that are like. And on top of that, they'll also manage to include some hard obstacles in our way, and it looks like we keep on getting some fireworks today, aren't we? Well, despite the fact that we're not exactly at November yet, but either way though, we pretty much at March now, so relatively speaking though, yeah, speaking of March though, Mighty, it's about the fact that we've only just got about a week left until the final trailer for the Super Mario Bros. Movie will be on its way. So, thanks Steve Forms for that particular Nintendo Direct announcement ever since in during the forms of about a week ago. So, either way though, still excited for it, and then especially noticeable, we're also able to do our bit of a speculating until whenever we get on to the second game of this entire compilation, which is of course Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, but let's not get ourselves to this point right now, because I think, relatively speaking, there are some tons of news we can able to discuss upon, although originally we weren't going to be able to try to mention something related to the Pokemon Presents presentation, but either way though, one thing we didn't actually expect, that there was actually a State of Play presentation, which did already came up during the forms of, I would classify as saying since about a week ago or something like that, where basically though about the fact that there are some few new updates to bring us into, and especially noticeable, there are some new titles has been announced during the forms of State of Play PlayStation Showcase presentation, which either way though, yeah, that's saying something, so. But either way, first off, we just want to point things out that as far as what Maxi has already mentioned about this ever since in his redo Let's Play of Piglet's Big Game, because as a result, recently, the first ever DLC for Mario Plus Rapid Sparks of Hope, called the Tower of Doom, has recently came out today, because obviously today's date, of course, is the 2nd of March today, in this case in 2023 today. Not only do we get ourselves the first ever DLC for Mario Plus Rapid Sparks of Hope, and for we've played it, we actually do enjoy it, and especially noticeable about the fact that until tomorrow, well, for those of you who lived in the UK, well, exponentially speaking, we were able to actually guarantee to get ourselves the physical version of Metroid Prime Remastered. So, very excited about that, even though, for I've heard anyway, that the actual physical copy of Metroid Prime Remastered has already been out of stock already. Well, for I've heard anyway, because I can assure to you, once again, there's going to be a lot of scalpers out there, which, gee, it feels kind of reminds me of the forms of Metroid Prime Trilogy for the Nintendo Wii, kind of thing about it. Except the fact that this time around, though, it's just only for one game, except 3 games in one. So, I've honestly have no idea why this scalper still continues during the forms of the physical runs for certain Nintendo Switch stuff nowadays, especially noticeable ever since in, you know, Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Like, whatever I looked up on the Amazon website so far, when I searched up on Super Mario 3D All-Stars physical form, likely a brand new condition, you know, with a brand new sealed copy, jeez Louise, it's almost at 100 quid at this point, which I know it sounds a bit ridiculous, despite the fact that that particular compilation has been almost been out for about 3 years or so. Well, mind you about the fact that we now actually got to the point for like 2.5 years ago since that particular compilation did somehow first came out, despite the fact that that was the year when the lockdown exists, you know. Oh, and talking of which though, actually, is about the fact that I suppose Maxi has completely forgotten to mention about during the course of Piglet's Big Game Let's Play, that basically it's been about a year ago since the unfortunate tragic war between both Ukraine and Russia, and so as a result, yeah, I honestly have no idea why I just somehow pointed things out, because they appeared on the news for that entire retrospective, so yeah, I guess we don't want to able to talk about that right now, because we get into the good stuff, you know? Yeah, which supposedly, that we'll discuss upon the forms of the actual announcements they've got for the state of play for the actual presentation in a moment. But either way though, and also not to mention though, for those of you who live in the UK, well, suffice to say, happy 11th anniversary of the release of Mario Party 9, specifically for those of you who lived in the UK. Despite looking back in it right now, I can totally see why a lot of people seem to really enjoy you know, not only Super Mario Party, but also Mario Party Superstars a lot more, just because, you know, they brought back the classic formula. So, well, almost to the teeth when it comes to, like, Super's case, because either way, though, that might be saying something, so... Anyway, so yeah, we fully appreciate that we finally managed to get the first ever DLC for Mario Plus Rapid Sparks of Hope, and exponentially, we were able to actually continue playing that game until next thing we need to wait for next of all is of course DLC 2 and eventually DLC 3, which it'll be the best thing for last, which you guys should probably already know, but either way though, that's besides the point. And something I would like to mention about before we get to the actual... Oh god, that was close. Because sometimes though, the lava bubbles might tend to able to do a bit of a jump scare at us. But either way though, looks like we've somehow done Star World 2, or World Star 2 I meant to say. But either way though, yeah, everything else will be pretty much accounted for, and we've actually got into like 8 minutes roughly, so not too shabby for the most part, despite the fact that we did somehow die on, you know, World Star 2. -4, because obviously I didn't pay attention to the actual momentum and stuff like that, and thus, the large fire bar was actually now from the get-go, so either way though, because as I said before, this mode is basically just a hard mode version of the original Super Mario Bros. So, I suppose about the fact that the only biggest difference is there is that not only certain hazards have been now, you know, added in more to the actual stages, but also about the fact that those Goombas are no longer there because, you know, it's been replaced by Buzzy Beetles, which again, although consecutively, it basically plays out exactly like the regular Koopa Troopers, except you can't kill them with the fireball, so instead you have to able to just specifically jump on them, and this is no time for doing infinite one-up tricks, mighty, because we got loads of lives right now, and consecutively, I think, relatively speaking, that we've almost to the point that we've almost had 1 million points mark. Oh yeah, I just realized about this. Especially noticeable because we're actually getting very, very great at the game. Well, at least specifically if you do somehow manage to pull off the actual infinite one-up trick, as you probably already know. But there's also another infinite one-up trick somewhere, but that'll be on the next game, which appears to be Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, which, again, we'll point at that specific topic until whenever we get to, like, I don't know, next Tuesday, if possible, because obviously, as we said before, that the Super Mario All-Stars Let's Play will be most likely focusing on Tuesdays and Thursdays from now on, so, but either way, that's all I can say about it. Also, I just realized about something is that whenever I looked upon the map of the Super Nintendo world, depending if it's either the Japanese or, you know, Japan or Hollywood, I do realize there are some slight changes between the forms of both the Japan and the Hollywood version, is that certain placements are actually slightly altered slightly. Like, I do know for the fact that on Universal Studios in Japan, that in the Super Nintendo world in Japan, I believe in the Mario Kart Koopa's Challenge was actually on the left, and as far as I'm aware, in the Hollywood version, they somehow moved that particular attraction to the right, so yeah, that's a little bit of an interesting change. And on top of all that stuff, though, is about the fact that I can assure to you, although I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure there is actually, Toadstool Cafe in, slightly to the left on the forms of the Japan version, and the Hollywood version was all the way to the right. Well, slightly to the right anyway, so, yeah, I can totally see why there are some slight differences between, you know, multiple versions of the Super Nintendo world so far. I'm not exactly sure what that will be like on Singapore, but either way though, we'll find out in the future, because either way though, this is just, you know, the begun of the forms of how the fact that, well, since that we've now actually got ourselves the Hollywood version of the Super Nintendo world right now, in America anyway, so either way, now it's time to move on to World Star 4. So either way though, not much change in this level, aside from the fact that, well, again, there's not much else I can say. But either way though, let's talk about the forms of certain announcements they've got, and we somehow died because we didn't get enough jump height to jump over that piranha plant coming out of the pipe. But oh well, no big deal, because we got the checkpoint anyway, so...
But you know what though? I was thinking about the same thing as well, so... Anyway, continue.
Yeah, there are some ton of announcements during the forms of the State of Play presentation right now. Well, again, it's been like about a week ago, roughly, that basically we actually got ourselves the Fark Lands, and I think, relatively speaking, that particular game is about to be out sometime this year. So, yeah, not much else I can say about this for the most part right here. And there's also Green Hell VR, which is also coming to the forms of, I think for the most part, that in the beginning portion of the State of Play, the most recent one anyway, that they're most likely focusing on those 5 upcoming titles, utilizing the PlayStation VR 2. So either way though, that we've already mentioned about one of those games already, which is the Fark Lands, and the second game on the PlayStation VR 2 is going to be confirmed as in Green Hell VR, and that's going to be coming this year in particular, in 2023. And there's also another game is also going to be releasing until in 2023 called Synapse, I think that's what it says anyway. I do apologize for that mispronunciation of that particular title of the game. And there's also going to be by the forms of Journey to Foundation, and if I recall correctly, that does have a release date for it, sometime in autumn this year. Which, it could be either be, I don't know, September, or October, or November, depending on certain stimulations. So, and there's also going to be Before Your Eyes, which I've never actually heard about that game before, but I do definitely know for a fact that that particular game is, you know, also coming onto the PlayStation VR 2, and it does have its release date, by the way, and it did say March the 10th, which is roughly the same day as Happy Mario 10 Day, which, relatively speaking, that will happen during at some point in next Friday, so we cannot wait able to actually celebrate with that, especially that, you know, the Mario movie is just around the corner, so either way though, we'll talk more details about that whenever we move on to the next game of this entire compilation, you know. So, anywho, the next game they did revealed, I think it's, to be more specifically, it's like the expansion or something, or perhaps even maybe it's like a DLC or something, which appears to be body forms of, well, suffice to say, we're hitting back onto Destiny 2 of all things, which, I know it sounds a little bit more of a, unsurprising, kind of stuff, because relatively speaking, I almost first thought they were able to actually bring in, the sequel to Destiny, called Destiny 3, but it doesn't seem to be likely. So as a result, yeah, Destiny 2 is actually getting its new update, specifically called Destiny 2 Nightfall. And for what I've noticed is that the actual font of Nightfall feels remarkably similar to the forms of how it does it on the Pixar film called Lightyear, or to be more specifically, the miserable flopped Pixar film that's ever marketing and such, which is of course Lightyear, which again, it seems you know, pretty sad to see that film gets like a box office bomb during the films of about a year ago. Well, almost a year ago anyway. But I wouldn't mention about the fact that, well, I think Internal might able to act, or Elemental might also get box office bombs, because I think, relatively speaking, that certain animation films nowadays, when, you know, Enter the Spider-Verse actually comes into play back in 2018, that the box office was such a massive hit. Well, alongside with the films of some Marvel films, but that's besides the point. But either way, so I believe for the actual release date for Destiny 2 Nightfall was actually very recent, which I honestly forgot to mention about during the films of in the last video on this. Well, mind you about the fact that, well, relatively speaking, I wasn't exactly you know, played that much of Destiny stuff as much as the next guy, but that's all I'm saying. And there's gonna be another game called Tikacha, or Tiki. I can't really pronounce that game's title, by the way. I do apologize for that, folks. But yeah, that was that particular another game which inspires by, I don't know what you would call it. And that particular game is going to be releasing at some point in this month until the 21st of March. So, in this year in particular. And it's about to be releasing on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. And that's pretty much as we expect. The next game they did reveal, which appears to be by the forms of Humanity, which it kind of reminds me of something related to like a Pikmin kind of game, except the fact that you take control of the actual white silhouette dog-like, and basically you can able to manipulate certain people's movements until you're able to actually go across the actual platforming stuff, which, pretty cool concept, I'm not gonna lie, but usually, relatively speaking, as I said before, it does kind of reminds me of the Pikmin games, roughly speaking, but either way though, you did somehow die thanks to the forms of that gosh darn lava bubble.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that, huh?
But hopefully you might as well get, oh god, that was close. Because I almost first thought you expected to get hit by another fire bar, but, or should I say, the exact same fire bar, but apparently you did dodge that in time, so.
Anywho though, what are you gonna be saying for this point there, bro? While I concentrate on this.
Basically, the actual release date of Humanity is going to be releasing at some point on in May 2023, so no specific dates yet until specifically in the future. So, and the next game they did revealed is Goodbye Volcano High, so I'm guessing it's like the actual high score simulation or something. And for I've knows is also going to be releasing on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, and that particular game does have its release date as well, and that's going to be releasing until June 15th this year. So either way though, expecting to be curious to see. And speaking of you know, cool announcements alike, that basically there's a brand new Naruto game is going to be releasing, thanks to the films of the actual 20th anniversary of the Naruto series, if I recall. That's what appears to be by the films of Naruto X, Burrito, I think that's what it says anyway. The Ultimate Ninja Storm Connections. So, yeah, pretty cool to able to actually see that game in action. And as far as I'm aware, it's also going to be releasing on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. And that's going to be coming at some point in this year. So, I have no idea when about is it going to be, but don't expect things too much, because either way though, it could be for possibilities of maybe sometimes you'll get delayed, if possible, but currently at the moment it's usually going to be coming on 2023, so sometime in this year. So I don't know if you noticed, but the reason why that my commentary feels a little bit sloppy at this point today, I do apologize for this point folks, is because, well, for whatever reason I've almost gonna get thrown up, but don't worry, I'm fine. So I'm pretty sure that Mighty will able to keep an eye on me when I was gonna do some commentary stuff for you guys. So when you say, bro,
yeah, absolutely. Especially noticeable. I don't want to let my brother, like you, Ray, to get thrown up.
Yeah, no, especially noticeable. I don't want to be too illness for this recording session. So, anyway, the next game they did reveal, which appears to be the PS5 exclusive title, and that's what appears to be Baldur's Gate, I think is what it's called anyway. And that game is going to be releasing until by the end of August in this year, in August 31st of 2023. So not much else to add around here. And there's also another game that's been revealed, which appears to be body forms of Wayfinder, and that game is going to be releasing on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. And relatively speaking, recently you've been able to actually play the beta version of the game just right now, but we don't know exactly what the release date is going to be at this point. But either way though, that's as far as I can usually say about this for the most part. So anyway, so the next game they did revealed, and here comes the cool part, because relatively speaking, similar to the forms of how it does in the forms of the actual Super Smash Bros. New character videos coming, the new characters thing itself, that basically, there's actually not one, but 3 new fighters who are actually definitely going to be coming for the likes of Street Fighter 6, and those are, I would say Zangar, I think is what it says anyway, and there's also Lily, and finally Cammy. So as a result though, I'm presuming that Cammy, she's basically in British, so yeah, pretty cool to able to actually have those fighters are now coming into Street Fighter 6. So either way, the release date is pretty much unchanged though, still going to be releasing at some point until the 2nd of June. So either way though, expecting to be hyped for some Street Fighter fans out there. So, and the next game they did show off, it appears to be body forms of a brand new trailer for the likes of Resident Evil 4 Remake. So as a result though, the release date is unchanged, but regardless of such though, about the fact that they did show us a teaser for the likes of the returning mode, which appears to be the Mercenaries mode. So that'll be interesting to able to bring that back. So either way though, and on top of all that stuff though, they're gonna bring us into the special demo coming soon. So we don't know exactly when that's going to be out at this point, but either way though, I'm curious to see what that's going to be turned out to be. So yeah, that's that. And the final thing they show us, which appears to be body forms of the upcoming game made by Rocksteady Studios, who also made body forms of the Batman Arkham games here and there. That's what appears to be body forms of Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. So as a result though, yeah, that's pretty much about it. And the release date for it has been confirmed, and it's going to be releasing until the 26th of May in 2023, the same day as in the Little Mermaid live-action adaptation is going to be releasing, which I'm honestly going to be able to give it a pass anyway, because you know how the fact that how much we are truly now disappointed with the forms of a lot of live-action movies these days now, because I'm just getting sick of and tired of them very easily. Oh, and also another thing too, in terms of my final thoughts of State of Play, it's meh. I mean, it's nothing groundbreaking to me though. I kinda wish they were able to actually show us some more gameplay footage on the forms of, let's just say, Crash Team Rumble, or heck, even especially noticeable if some brief more information on Kingdom Hearts 4 is actually still in development or something. But unfortunately though, I think suffice to say, they might try to save it up until in this year's E3, although there's one little thing that it might actually upset me recently, and that is that unfortunately, Nintendo confirms that it won't be participating in this year's E3 in 2023, which I'm honestly felt shocked and sad at the same time, because it did say something related to, we approach our involvement in any event on a case-by-case basis, and are always considering various ways to engage with our fans. Since this year's E3 show didn't fit into our plans, we have made the decision to not participate. However, we have been and continue to be a strong supporter of the ESA and E3. So yeah, this really does suck, honestly, because we would love to see certain things are definitely going to be coming, but that's just the way it is, unfortunately. I mean, relatively speaking, I know it seems incredibly hard to cope with it, But either way, though, let's not get ahead of ourselves, because either way, actually, it turns out that when it comes to Resident Evil 4 Remake, that it might actually brings us into free VR mode that's about to be coming in during at some point in post-launch. So we don't know exactly sure when exactly, but either way, though, it might be very curious to see what that's going to be represent. And talking of which, though, there was technically a rumor going on, which appears to be by the forms of Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake. It might be on the works, and the new Castlevania game as well. But as to be expected with most rumors and leaks, we simply can't trust them, just because it might easily trick us. So, yeah, screw those leaks and rumors, because obviously they just love to able to fake you guys out. So, yeah, I was thinking about the same thing for the sake of time, so... Now, I suppose there are last two things I want to mention before we're able to take on the forms of the final 4 levels, as you can tell right now. That basically though about the fact that, well, I'm happy to report that Mario Plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, speaking of which, that basically that particular game did somehow win the Family Game of the Year at the DICE rewards. So, yeah, pretty nice to be able to actually let that game to get a nice reward, which is of course, you know, Family Game of the Year. Well, mind you, that was in 2022 or something like that. So, relatively speaking though, that, you know, it's nice to able to actually just have one of those rewards for that game. So, and I suppose the last thing I want to mention though is that, well, before we get into more details onto this though, is that whenever I did saw one of those recent episodes of My Little Pony Tell Your Tale, and basically it involves around, let's just say, Spiky's illness, and let me tell you right off the bat though, Mighty, I'm speechless right now, especially because, not only because, well, I hate to say it, but we just simply give up on G5 right now, because no matter what though, the actual humor, it just gets completely over the top, and to make matters worse, this is the only point where if we see that fart joke in our eyes, on our site, I just simply just go, fudge this. And they give up, so do I. I mean, I can't really put my finger on it, because either way though, I would have liked to be able to actually impress with it, but the more I think about it, it's gonna get ridiculous and get completely over the top, and that's why I essentially give up on G5. I'd much rather go back to G4 now. I mean, God, my head hurts whenever I see that, Sparky just farts right into Misty. Anyway, enough about that ranting earlier, because, I just have no idea why they're going for that decision. Like, seriously, whoever thought that was a good idea? I mean, jeez Louise.
Are you okay, bro? Because you seemed able to get ticked off for a moment.
Well, let's just say for this point, Mighty, I felt a lot ticked off whenever I see that happening, because I'm just totally speechless, you know? Anyway, enough about that, but either way, I'm so sorry to report that G5, I'm probably not gonna watch any more G5 stuff anymore, guys. I mean, it just doesn't feel right to me. Like, literally, something about the series seems a bit off to me, though. Like, everything else at all. I mean, the characters themselves, they're okay. But I swear, it's just the series itself, it's just gonna get a little bit more of a less, it just feels a bit more, I don't know what you would call it.
Anyway, enough about that. Let's just go ahead and get on to Super Mario All-Stars then, huh?
Yeah, I was thinking about the same thing, because either way though, it just... I don't know about you, man. I mean, Anyways, let's talk about the forms of the final thing, the true final thing for today's discussion, and that is the fact that, well, one of those games in particular is definitely going to be coming until next month, called Magical Drop, is it Magical Drop 6? that obviously it does have a release date, and it's going to be set until its release until next month in April. So either way though, and it also has a new trailer for it too. So yeah, I guess that's about it for today's discussion for this point, folks. I mean, literally though, that's as far as I can say about it. We would like to able to mention about the films so far, you know, the excitement of the Mario movie, but I think we should probably save that conversation whenever we get into the later games at this point. So, you know, for this entire Super Mario All-Stars compilation. So here we go in the final level in the game again, except this time around though, that, well, honestly, this entire level layout, it's pretty much unchanged for the most part. Although aside from the fact that, unfortunately though, we've lost our ability to able to use Fire Mario, because you know, no matter what though, the only thing we did get screwed up on this point, however though, is of course those pesky Hammer Bros ever since in World Star A3. So either way though, I was not expecting to see how these hammers did potentially screw us up, but either way though, I'm sure we'll able to actually just to like, you know, complete this level without any sort of like trial and error and all that stuff though, which that might be a little bit more relevant at that point, but hey.
So of course we still need to avoid those bloopers before we can, along with those fire bars, so...
And hopefully we should able to rescue Princess Peach, again, so... Oh god!
Okay, here's the last bit. There it goes.
Whew! And that was it, folks. That was the entire playthrough of Super Mario Bros. Again, except now on hard mode. And no matter what though, since we're in small, the game gives us a Super Mushroom just to get enough size so that Princess Peach can able to kiss Mario all over his face. So, and yeah, that was it for Super Mario Bros. So 1 game down and only 3 more games to go. So as a result though, and it did say, thank you Mario for restoring peace to our kingdom. Hooray to our hero Mario. Which, as a result, yeah, he's the #1. So, anyway, so suffice to say, I think we should probably end things off here. So join us next Tuesday for more of Let's Play of Super Mario All-Stars. Is that, well, we're going to be moving on to probably one of the hardest games in this entire compilation. And that's what appears to be Super Mario Bros. 2, The Lost Levels. So, oh boy, this will give us a lot of troublesome at points. So I'll see you guys enjoying on Tuesday. Later, fellas. See you guys then.